Greetings and welcome to our new virtual performance series, which will come to you every Monday and Thursday from now throughout the summer. After many weeks away from the stage during this pandemic, we are anxious to share our music with you. And while it's not the same as our traditional intimate classic and original live programming, we hope this gives you a chance to see something you may have missed or enjoy a favorite musical moment all over again. Beginning May 4th, I hope you'll join me every Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. for a quick preview of our weekly ICO radio broadcast on WFYI 90.1 FM. I'll share a short segment of the program with a little background on what you can expect during the evening's 10 p.m. broadcast. Then, each Thursday evening at 6 p.m., I'll be back again on our social media channels to host a 20-minute program we're calling Mocktails and Masterpieces. Here, we'll share a video clip of an ICO performance, and I'll provide some background commentary for context. Some of the segments will be pre-recorded, and some will be live events with our ICO musicians. Our first program marks this day in history. April 30th, 1968, Senator Robert F. Kennedy returned to Indianapolis for a meeting at the Christian Theological Seminary. Weeks earlier, on April 4th, Kennedy flew to Indianapolis for a planned inner-city rally promoting his presidential campaign. Upon landing, he was informed of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. Kennedy was told that riots had broken out in other cities, and he was advised not to make the speech, but he proceeded to address the crowd gathered at 17th and Broadway. Instead of a campaign stump speech, Kennedy delivered a 5-minute improvised statement informing the crowd of Dr. King's death and urging racial reconciliation. No riots took place in Indianapolis, a fact that many attribute to the effect of Kennedy's speech. Today, we bring you Kennedy's speech as captured in our award-winning multimedia program, Peacemakers, composed by ICO composer-in-residence James Aikman. This is the first of several segments we will share from the Peacemakers concert, which premiered live in 2016 and was broadcast on WFYI Public Television in Indianapolis. We wish to thank James Aikman, WFYI, and Wish TV for making this important work possible. Hope you enjoy.
I'm delighted to be here. I'm a little bit reluctant to thank anybody because I read in the paper that my wife thanked a clergyman for inviting her to come someplace. That was injecting the religious issue into the campaigns. So I'll just say I'm delighted to be here, and delighted to see all of you, and delighted to have an opportunity to talk with you about some of the issues and some of the problems that face this country over the period of the next few years, and I'd be glad to also, as it was stated, to answer any questions.
It was during Robert Francis Bobby Kennedy's run for president in 1968, on his way to give a campaign speech in Indianapolis, that he heard the news of Martin Luther King's assassination. He was advised to cancel his speech. Instead, he offered an impromptu eulogy for his friend and colleague that is now known to be one of the great speeches in history.
Could you lower those signs, please? I have some very sad news for all of you, and that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis. Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in. For those of you who are black, considering the evidence evidently is that there were white people who were responsible, you can be filled with bitterness and with hatred and a desire for revenge. We can move in that direction as a country, in greater polarization, black people amongst blacks and white amongst whites, filled with hatred toward one another. Or we can make an effort, as Martin Luther King did, to understand and to comprehend and replace that violence, that stain of bloodshed that is spread across our land with an effort to understand and compassion and love. For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and mistrust of the injustice of such an act against all white people, I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man. But we have to make an effort in the United States. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times. My favorite poem, my favorite poet was Aeschylus. He once wrote, "Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God." What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another. Feeling of justice toward those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or whether they be black. We can do well in this country. We will have difficult times. We've had difficult times in the past, but we will have difficult times in the future. It is not the end of violence. It is not the end of lawlessness, and it's not the end of disorder. But the vast majority of white people and the vast majority of black people in this country want to live together, want to improve the quality of our life, and want justice for all human beings that abide in our land. And want to dedicate ourselves to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago, to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of this world. Let us dedicate ourselves to that and say a prayer for our country and for our people. Thank you very much.